Shalom Yasha'Allah. I want to start off with giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, and who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His true name is Yahweh Shai, which is his only begotten Son. I want to give double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to you brothers to the four corners of the earth, preaching this word and laboring in this word in truth, love, and sincerity. And I just got an article on RT News that came out this morning, and it says, time to take fate into its own hands. Europe cannot rely on U.S. protection anymore, says Merkel. And this is what we've been telling you people. We've been telling you that what? These other nations, okay, America's allies, the NATO and the EU, are going to come against America. Hey, the scripture says what? The beast shall hate the whore. And that whore being who? America, Babylon the Great. The whore is sitteth upon many waters. You know? But these other nations, they're getting sick of America's BS. Okay? These other nations know America is failing and crumbling as we speak. Financially, morally, even physically. Okay? Though you may have America with, some great military arsenal, hey, but guess what? These other nations have some as well. And then you got what? The big bear, which is Russia, supplying these other nations with weapons just as powerful as America's, or not even more powerful. You see? Hey, another one of America's allies, which was Turkey, is being sanctioned by the United States because what? They bought S-400 anti-defense missile systems. From who? Russia, America's enemy. The one that's spoken about in the scriptures in Ezekiel 38, the 38th chapter, Gog and Magog, to be the first one to come against America. You see? And I'm gonna get some scriptures out there, go through this article a little bit. So it says, Europe can no longer count on the U.S. in defense and must take matters into its own hands. German Chancellor Angela Merkel stated during a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, who also said something should be done. It's no longer the case that the United States will simply just protect us, Merkel said in a speech honoring President Macron, who came to the Aachen to receive the prestigious Charlemagne Prize. Receiving a round of applause, Merkel stated. Rather, Europe needs to take its fate into its own hands. That's the task for the future. And this is what you see going on, man. These other nations, hey, they're getting tired of America's bullshit. Okay? And now they're telling ourselves, look, man, we have to do this on our own. Okay? We cannot be relying on the United States. We have to make it happen ourselves. Okay? Did I skip anything? Continuing on, it says, Europe has to act together and speak with one voice, she said, as cited by Germany's Die Welt newspaper. But let's be honest, Europe is still in its infancy with regard to the common foreign policy. Speaking after Merkel, Macron said that we should not be waiting. We must do something right now. Let us not be weak, added the French president. And these other nations, they're not starting to be weak, okay? America's allies, that's a part of them. Hey, once they start going and purchase that military ammunition off of Russia, hey, they won't be weak, okay? They get to add more, military power or weapons to their arsenal, where they can't be weak and where they can stand up. But if they come together, like the scriptures say, how can America stand? They'll be able to back each other up. So what does it say? Read the quote again. It says, we should not be waiting. We must do something right now. Let us not be weak. You see? In the scriptures in Joel says, let the weak say I'm strong. Okay? Let's get that. Joel. Joel, the third chapter. Joel, the third chapter. I'll start at 9. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near and let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." You see? And when it says beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, that means don't put your money into agriculture, right? Put your money into what? Your military defense. Because a plowshare and a pruning hook all basically deals with food, okay? A way that you can get food. But you beat it into what? Instead of farming or food instruments, to what? Swords, weaponry, right? And it says, let the weak say, I am strong. So all these other smaller nations, once they get built up and get all this this military ammunition, they have the military might to fight back. Hey, then they're able to say they're strong. And a lot of these smaller nations are starting to be strong by just having what? Them intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay? And the anti-defense missiles, because now they can protect themselves. Now America just cannot go in there and bully them or bomb them without having to deal with the repercussions of that smaller nation shooting a bomb back. And even adding on, these smaller countries now have these bigger countries like Russia, right? China, that's became their backbone, okay? Where they became allied together. Hey, and there's what? There's strength in numbers, okay? So let's go back to the article real fast. Let's read that again. It says, that quote, it says, "We should not be waiting," meaning, we got to make a move. We must do something right now. Let us not be weak, added the French president. I think just a little more I want to get. It says, I'll read the bottom. It says, "Nevertheless, countries within the EU have to know that we have to fight for our future, our, meaning theirs, and our fate ourselves as Europeans." So they're saying, let's stick together as Europeans. You see? Now, can you see how part of the NATO and the EU members are trying to break away and try to defend themselves on their own? Because what? France and Germany, they are members of NATO. Okay? Matter of fact, let's get the map to show you. Now, as you can see, there's a little, I forgot what I believe they're called, like a grid or something like that. And it shows you the European Union. It says the yellow, EU member states. And then it gives you like a timeline when something's joined and things like that. And you can see here. You see the members of NATO, Europe, right? Let's call some out that let's call a few of them out. You have Norway, part of NATO. You see? And we already stated Germany, right? We already stated France. You got Spain. You see? You got how you say that word? I can't see some of them. But you have places like Hungary, Poland, Portugal, Denmark, okay, Greece, Iceland, and there's more, Romania, United Kingdom, okay, Croatia, Czech, Belgium, Albania, Bulgaria, And you're looking at the map of Europe saying, let's stick together, okay? Let us unite and be as one, as allies together. You see? And this is beautiful, okay? Let's read a little bit more from this article, and then I'm going to get some scripts. So bear with me, Lord willing. This one came out, okay, well, this is May 28th, 2017. But hey, it's still meat, or, it's still good news. It says, no more dependence on allies. Europe should take its fate into its own hands, Merkel after G7. And they said this last year. So now a year came around, and a couple of days before it, or 2 weeks before it, that they're saying, EU is saying the same thing, as that meeting they had with Germany and France. Okay? Let's see. It says, while Britain and America remain friends, Europeans must rely more on themselves. German Chancellor Angela Merkel told a rally of voters in Munich, she said she got this feeling after meeting world leaders at the recently concluded G7 summit in Italy. And this is what she said. The times in which we could completely depend on others are on the way out. They going in that every man for themselves, but except for the ones that wants to team up with each other. I have experienced that in the last days, she told the crowd Sunday, a day after attending the G7 summit. You see? So, hey, as you see it, man, you see these other nations, man, getting fed up with the U.S., man, okay? And they want to break away and defend, and be on their own, And pretty much, just speculating, the U.S. is a type of a country when nations will try to break away. I believe that they'll try to give a nation an ultimatum or repercussions for trying to break away from them. Hey, and that's just America, Babylon the Great, And I'm just speculating about how they operate, as demons, as devils that they are, because they are the earth's weapons of mass destruction. You see, in the flesh. So let's get Revelation 17. Okay. Revelation 17 verse, and I'm sorry at 15 because I just want to get to the point for the lack of time. And it reads, it says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest were the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns, right? And the 10 horns is who? You have Greece, the Netherlands, Ireland, England, and West Germany, Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, right? Them are the 10 horns. Oh, I got lost. Them are the 10 horns, which thou sawest upon the beast. These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now, how are they going to burn her with fire? Through nuclear missiles. Okay? The missiles are the way that these nations are going to burn America, Babylon the Great, with fire. You see? The same nations that were allies with them. That's why in the book of Obadiah it says, I have deceived thee. Let's get that real fast. Let's get that precept. Okay, Obadiah 1, verse 7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee up even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, that they eat the bread. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So the people that you was in confederacy with, hey, what? The people that you were at peace with have deceived you. Okay? And that's these nations, that we're speaking about. even the ones in this article. And some that's not in the article, or that I'm mentioning right now. Hey, but the NATO and the EU is going to turn on America. So let's go back to Revelation 17 chapter. What was that? 16, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore," right? The EU. "These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire." Now let's show a way they're going to be burnt with fire. I believe I can find it in here quicker. Let's see. Maybe Jeremiah, if I'm not mistaken. Slocky, I believe it is. Let's see. Yep. Here we go. Jeremiah 50. Verse. I'll start at 12. Nope, I'll start at 9. It says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain." And when you deal with arrows in the scriptures, arrows also resemble missiles. Okay. "And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. Because ye were glad, because ye have rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed." And who birthed America? Great Britain. Okay? America came out of Great Britain. And they are the they are the 8th who came out of the 7. Okay? And it reads, it says, "Your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land and a desert. Because of the wrath of the Lord it shall not be inhabited, but shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at it all her plagues." You see, because the Lord has a heavy destruction coming upon this place. And this Babylon here is talking about Babylon the Great, America. All right? Not ancient Babylon, because people are still inhabiting ancient Babylon right now. Verse 14, it says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord." You see, so all these other nations are going to gather together, and they're going to all what? They're going to all shoot their missiles, right? They're going to shoot all the missiles that they have. That's why it says spare no arrows, okay? Don't save not one. Verse 15, it reads, it says, "Shout against her round about. She have given her hand for foundations. She have given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her as she have done unto thee." You see? So this is the point, man. All these nations are going to come round about and shoot at her with the arrows. And that's how they're going to burn her with fire. You see? So when you go back to 17, verse 17, it says, "For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the one which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth." That great city is America, Babylon the Great. Okay, which reigneth over what? The kings of the earth, over all the nations that they reign over. Okay. Hey, so you see, man, you see how they're gonna make this place desolate, right? How they're gonna burn this place with fire. Hey, with the missiles, they're all gonna shoot around. They're gonna all shoot round about her. Okay, to make her what? Utterly desolate. You see? And this is beautiful. You know, this is beautiful that we're actually seeing this take place. You know? So let's read this again. You know, we'll close out. The timeline says no more dependence on allies. Europe should take its fate into its own hands. And this is the speech that Merkel said. The lady says, "We Europeans must really take our destiny to our own hands, of course, in friendship with United States, in friendship with Great Britain, with neighborly relations wherever possible, also with Russia and other countries. But we have to know that we have to fight for our future and our fate ourselves as Europeans." You see? So there you have it, man. Okay?